This is Phantom 105.2. Crank it up.
Right now, I'm joined in the studio by two very special guests. We have Sian Hurst and David Caoimh, who are wakeboarders. How are you guys?
Hi, good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Really excited to be here today.
Thanks a lot for coming in. We've got you in because all week we've been saying on Phantom Drive and last week on Stadium Rock that we've got a rather special prize to give away, which is a Valhalla official O'Brien team wakeboard with bindings. I'm going to ask you what the bindings are shortly. Worth over 650 quid. A one-on-one wakeboarding lesson with yourself, David. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, no, I'm fully aware of it and excited for it as well. And I'm looking forward to try bring some more people into sport. It's great because hopefully the person will get up. I mean, the chances are high. It's like riding a bike, I suppose. Whenever the first time you might fall down, second time you might fall down. Once you get it, you'll get it and you'll be hooked forever and you'll never forget. And then hopefully you'll tell your friends and you'll really enjoy it. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I just wanted to say that because it says that in the list of prizes, and I thought, have they actually told David that he's given some a list? And they have, which is good. And you also get a competition bib signed by the Irish wakeboarding team. So all that is going to be given away a little bit later on Stadium Rock this afternoon. Right, okay, first question, I suppose, guys, is going to be tell us what wakeboarding is, because as I said during the week, and I thought my explanation was a bit rubbish, it's kind of like water skiing, except you do it on one thing instead of two.
Basically, you made a really, really good attempt at it, and that's kind of what everyone says as well. It's the water version of snowboarding.
Right.
So you use the wake that's produced by the boat, obviously, as a ramp to do your tricks off. I'm sure people have seen snowboarders do different spins and flips and everything. So you do the same kind of tricks, but you use the wake from the boat.
Right, okay. And is this a relatively new sport then? Because obviously people will be aware of water skiing, but wakeboarding, is it a new thing, or is it just that we're not aware of it as much in Ireland just yet? I think it's really fairly new. I think it's been out for about 10 years now, but in Ireland it's certainly growing. I think it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world, actually, so it's really coming up there. All the sponsors and stuff and companies around the world are looking, really seeing how good, and it's really a spectacular sport to be spectating. So I really think in the next few years you're going to see it explode all around the world, including Ireland. Absolutely, and you mentioned it's a big sport all over the world. That's kind of relevant because, David, I believe you're ranked 4th in the junior men in the world in the sport. Yeah, so that's great. I was lucky enough, we went out to Korea last year. I think Sian was actually injured with a knee injury, but we went out to South Korea with the whole Irish team, and we were competing out there in the World Championships, and I was just happy to be there, to tell you the truth. It was my first year in junior men, and then making to the finals I was just completely overwhelmed, and then to come 4th, I mean, it was more than I could ever ask for, so it's a great achievement. And obviously you'll be hoping to improve on that at the next opportunity. Yeah, the next year, that was in 2009, and then they're every second year. So next year, I think they're going to be in Italy, and I'm looking forward to it there, and hopefully I'll try and get it up to a podium, so we'll see how that goes. That would be cool. And Sian, you'll be taking part in that, presumably, as well. Yeah. Not the men's, obviously, but there's a separate competition for women and men, is there? Or? There is, yes. Yeah. There's 2 completely separate competitions, and it goes in age groups up to 18, and then to professional men and women. Well, hopefully we might see you, getting a fairly high placing in the next championship. Yeah, I hope so as well. We'll look forward to that. How did you guys get involved in wakeboarding to start off with? Because obviously you need to do it, on water, and it's something that happens on lakes, obviously, rather than in the sea, as opposed to surfing. Yeah, well, the way I started was my parents used to do a lot of windsurfing, especially my dad. So they moved up. They bought a caravan on a lake in Lochsillan, which is where we are now. I still wakeboard there today, to windsurf, but it was never windy enough. And then a neighbour moved in when I was about 4 or 5, and they had a ski boat, and then they took us out and they taught me how to water ski. And then when I was about 10 or 10, I think, I went out wakeboarding for the first time, and then since then I've just been hooked to it, and I've never looked back at water skiing, to tell you the truth. It's so much fun. And is it an easy thing for people to get involved in? Because people do think, obviously, sometimes the equipment might be a bit expensive, or you need to obviously be near water in order to do it. That could be a bit off-putting for some people, but what would you say to people who think, I'd quite like to get involved in that, but maybe, it's a bit tricky? I mean, I don't think it's that tricky. I think there's over 20 clubs or something in Ireland. Oh, really? The equipment is a little bit expensive, but you don't have to buy the best just to start. Once you improve, and then you can get it as you go on. And of course you can probably hire it as you're going for going to clubs. Yeah, exactly. Well, the clubs all have their own equipment, so Sure. And Sian, how did you get in it? Because I'm imagining that there are probably more guys involved in wakeboarding than women at the moment. Is that fair to say?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
No, I have 2 older brothers, and we've got this kind of whatever you can do, I can do better thing going on. So when I was younger, I saw them do it, and then I decided I wanted to try and beat them. So I took part and entered competitions, and then never looked back since then.
And you guys take part in it. Would it be fair to? Is a description of wakeboarding as an extreme sport a kind of fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, it's definitely very extreme. I would put it down as it's always on the Extreme Sports channel as well. So I mean that probably classifies it as
the
an extreme
injuries,
sport.
I think.
Yeah, well, Sian's had her fair share of injuries, a lot more than me anyway. So
yeah, well, you mentioned that you were injured, unfortunately, the last World Championships.
Yeah,
how did that happen?
year.
And it was obviously quite a risky sport to get involved in, relatively speaking.
Yeah, it's definitely quite risky, and I think if you're going to try a lot of big things, you need to know what you're doing. But I was training, that was last year, I was training in Florida, and unfortunately blew the ligaments in my knee, so I couldn't take part in the Europeans or the Worlds last year.
Choker.
So it was annoying, but I'm just waiting for next year, and hopefully that will be good.
Absolutely. And how often do you get out on the water? Is it something you obviously need to practice quite regularly, especially at your standard you guys are at?
yeah, well, in the summer, I mean, we could probably ride every day, and then like maybe 2 or 3 times a day. Depends on the day. I mean, if it's windy or rainy, you obviously don't go out, but more or less every day. And then in the winter, I know it's a lot harder, especially in Ireland. Like it's cold, so we go out maybe every weekend, like once a weekend or every second weekend. So it's not as much in the winter because I have school and Sian's at college. But I mean, you go out a fair bit. You get your fair share.
It's
absolutely, yeah.
It's hard because we're competing against people who live in these really hot climates and can go all year round. Whereas I know I trained with David not last year, the year before, all throughout the winter, and it was -4 degrees and stuff.
Crazy, like go out and break the ice on the lake and then go out and stuff like that.
It's so cold.
And is that one of the reasons you mentioned that you did a bit of training over in Florida there? Is that one of the reasons that you'd need to go abroad, obviously because of better weather and you get more opportunities to do it?
Yeah, basically, and it's a lot bigger over there. I mean, I'd say Florida is probably the main spot for wakeboarding in the
it's
world.
like the Hollywood of wakeboarding, I would put it down as.
Yeah.
I see. And you guys are both quite young. If you don't mind me asking what ages you are.
I'm 16.
You're 16, David.
Yeah.
And Sian?
I've now just turned 20.
Okay, I mean, you're both relatively young. Would it be fair to say that, you know, that other people involved in it would be of a similar age to you? I mean, David, you're ranked in the junior men's 4th in the world. It goes up to a certain age group, though, does it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know for the men's anyway, it's probably similar for the women. It's like there's junior men, there's a few junior men who compete in the Pro Tour and they do really, really well in it. Like Harley Clifford won the Pro Tour 2 years in a row now, and he's like 4 or 5 months older than me. But I think that it goes up to a certain age, and then maybe 26 you're kind of pushing it a little bit because it really pounds your knees, as Sian has experienced. So I mean, there is a certain age.
Takes it out, you're all right. So I mean, you know, hopefully you won't have any more injuries in the future, and we'll wish you all the best in the next championships, which are in Italy next year. You were saying, Dave, is that right?
Yeah, the Worlds are in Italy, and we're not really sure where the Europeans are going to be yet.
Okay, but you'll be taking part in those, though, presumably as well.
Yeah.
And are there any other competitions that take place in Ireland if people want to get involved?
Yeah, there's loads of competitions now. Well, there used to be a lot more, and then they went down, and then in 2008 there was only like 1 or 2, but now they're starting to pick back up again. So we have the Irish Nationals. I'm not actually sure. I know next weekend's the annual general meeting for the Water Skiing Wakeboard Federation, and they decide where all the events are then. But I'd say there'll be like 5 or 6, and they literally anyone from novice people who've just learned how to get up to like pros or whatever. So it's every single standard. So it's literally for anyone, and even if you don't want to compete, you can come down and look, and everyone's really nice. They're happy to help you out if you're just learning how to get up or whatever. So
this year we had so many beginners, like in all the competitions, from I think what was the youngest, 6 or something, 6 years old, and they're literally just getting up, but they love it because everyone's cheering for them and stuff, and it means that next year they're just gonna want to come back and do so much better.
Definitely. No, it sounds like a great activity for especially young people to get involved in, but obviously people of all ages if they want to try it, I suppose. Is there a website for people that are interested to check out and get all the details on?
Yeah, I think in Ireland the best website is called irishwwf.ie, sorry, and it is pretty much the Irish Water Skiing Wakeboard Federation website.
So irishwwf.ie.
Yeah, and that has all the links to all the clubs in Ireland, and it's just pretty much it's where it's at in Ireland, to tell you the truth.
Brilliant stuff. Well, guys, I'll let you go. Thanks a million for coming in and explaining
Thank
all
you
about
for having
wakeboarding.
us.
It's been a pleasure, and we'll give a fantastic wakeboarding prize away a little bit later on in this show, and I'll give you details on that as we progress. But thanks a million for coming in, guys.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
I believe there's been a couple of goals in the Premier League since we've been on. My producers yelling in my ears that there's been